When application completion rates drop, something is off. Students aren't getting the support they need, and that's affecting your numbers. Enter Element 451's AI assistants. They step in where students struggle, offering real-time answers and advice, guiding them through every step. Learn how AI assistants can boost your enrollment outcomes. Visit element451.com/AI team to learn more.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it's nice that we have this visibility here, right? That's one of John's kind of takeaways at the end of the blog, right? Is that de-aggregating this data is going to help significantly for policymakers and practitioners to rethink policy, right? Rethink the way that that we build dual enrollment pathways and other important things like that.
We covered in a previous episode the discussion going on in legislation right now just about online classes, and there's a lot of dual enrollment classes that are online. So I think some of that could impact this as well.
Absolutely. The one that stuck out to me was that dual enrollment was not evenly distributed across all institutions, that there are some that are significantly leading the way and others that are not doing dual enrollment hardly at all. So that I think will be an area that a lot of institutions begin to look to in the same way that, they've kind of pivoted toward graduate programs, graduate degrees, continuing ed, certificates. I think looking towards dual enrollment and sort of blending into the high school model and getting students their degrees quicker for lower costs, especially since most of those dual enrollment programs are probably at least subsidized, if not fully covered by the high school.
Welcome to the EduData Podcast, a podcast that serves as your weekly guide to the data driving higher education. We are your hosts. I'm Jamie Boggs.
And I'm Timothy Davis. Join us every Friday for weekly breakdowns of the most important data, trends, and topics in higher education.
The EduData Podcast is a part of the Enrollify network, a robust collection of podcasts designed to help higher education professionals like you grow. Explore our other shows at enrollify.org or check out some of my personal favorites linked in the show notes below.
Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, the leading AI-powered, all-in-one student engagement platform, helping institutions create meaningful, personalized, and engaging interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the EduData Podcast. I'm Timothy Davis, joined by Jamie Boggs. And something interesting about me and Jamie is that we are actual humans on this podcast. We are not just AI-generated voices, right, Jamie?
That's right. And I know there's there are some products out there that will offer to do that. And I don't know, I'm intrigued by the ability, but I think the human element of podcasting is what makes it relatable. So if we get replaced by robots, I don't know, we'll have a code word or something.
Yeah, absolutely. The signs will be obvious for sure.
Yes.
But all that to say, it hurts my actual human feelings when people listen to this podcast and don't leave us a review.
Yeah.
Oh no. Just kidding.
Human feelings.
Y'all are adults. Thanks for spending time with us. Do whatever you want. Leave us a review if you feel so inclined, or reach out on LinkedIn. We'd love to connect and talk about the topics that we cover on this podcast and kind of build our network of listeners, engage with y'all. So appreciate you for spending some time with us today. Today we are going to talk about the new IPEDS data. Woot woot! IPEDS data. They started collecting for the first time dual enrollment between college and high school, right? So we got a lot of new data to get through, and we're actually going to be basing our discussion of this on a LinkedIn post and a blog from John Fink. A great LinkedIn follow if you haven't followed him. He is the Senior Research Associate and Program Lead for the Community College Research Center. And they actually posted their blog has a really nice Tableau dashboard that's embedded. You can click through, and so each section has a different part of that dashboard there. Really cool. Again, I think we've shouted out a number of people on this podcast who make really great data products for the public to consume and enjoy. John, thank you for your work on this. This is a wonderful blog post, and love that you summed up quickly your kind of key takeaways in a LinkedIn post. Love a good TLDR. Appreciate that. So let me go through the top takeaways here from John and the CCRC, and then we'll discuss them a little bit. How's that sound, J-Bo?
That sounds great. And there is so much to dig into here. We could do a whole series. So we're going to try to hit the highlights today. And then if there are topics you want us to dive deeper into, then let us know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so number one takeaway, nearly 2.5 million high school students took a dual enrollment college course in 2022-2023. That's a lot of that. Did you do dual enrollment when you were in high school?
It was it was very different in my one-room schoolhouse in the 1800s.
Right.
We didn't have computers. Back then, it was mostly just AP courses that counted for dual credit. There wasn't nearly as much of actually leaving to go to a class at campus or online. So
Yeah.
so it's certainly, I think it was in its early years back then.
Absolutely. Yeah, this has definitely been a developing component of the industry. You asked for dual enrollment credits when you were at your little 1800 schoolhouse and you got whacked on the knuckles with a ruler.
I did. It was
Rats.
bad. It was bad.
Mm-mm.
All the second graders laughed at me when I was a senior because we were in the same room. Get it? I'm old. Yeah.
I get it, because they didn't have different rooms in the schoolhouse. They just had all the
didn't.
kids
It
together.
was a one room.
So on this episode of EduData Podcast, we're talking about 1800 schoolhouses and how the dynamics worked in there. Okay, number two takeaway from our new IPEDS data: the top 5 states for dual enrollment by size, so total number of students, is California, Texas, New York, Indiana, and Florida. So just the biggest states. That makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll amend to that the biggest percentage of dual enrollment students per population is actually Idaho. Idaho has
Right.
57%. Way to
Yeah.
go, Idaho. See
Go,
what I
Idaho.
did there?
Yeah,
we work with some folks from Idaho and at Element 451. So shout out to y'all. Hello, if you're listening to this. Well done with your work in dual enrollment.
I will say that Indiana is a bit of a surprise on there for me. That's the one state that I would have guessed maybe would have been Illinois or something like that, maybe Georgia, just due to population size. But Indiana is 52%. So
Nice.
doing well.
Well done.
Cracks top 5.
There it is. Community colleges, no, this is takeaway number 3. Community colleges serve the vast majority of dual enrollment students. So 1.78 million of the 2.5 million that were dual enrollment, 1.78. So a large percentage. About 1 in 5 community college students is in high school. So that means of community college students, 1 in 5 are high school dual enrollment students.
Right.
Cool. In 10 states, more than a third of community college students are in high school. So that'd be Idaho and Indiana. Dual enrollment accounts for more than half. So that's pretty cool. That's up from the 1 in 5. The 1 in 5 is the average across all states, but for some, it's even greater. 240,000 high school students took dual enrollment at the 10 largest dual enrollment colleges alone. And of these top 10, 8 were community colleges. Okay,
Yep.
So there's a really high concentration of dual enrollment at specific institutions. It is not equitable across the entire sort of industry. Okay. Black and Hispanic Latino students continue to be underrepresented in dual enrollment. That's interesting. I feel like, at least in my neck of the woods, dual enrollment is really popular across all races and ethnicities. But that's interesting to know that that does not carry across the entire industry. So they're underrepresented in dual enrollment compared to both K-12 enrollments and undergrad enrollments overall. Black students had equal or greater representation in dual enrollment in only one state, MA. That's Massachusetts, right?
That's right.
Hey, got that one. And at only 74 community colleges, fewer than 1 in 10 community colleges serving dual enrollment students nationally. Not a lot of representation for Black students specifically in dual enrollment, except in Massachusetts. Well done, Massachusetts. Yep. Hispanic and Latino students had greater or equal representation in dual enrollment in 18 states and at more than a third of community colleges nationally. And then finally, his number 10 takeaway is, and I'll plug this here as we transition over to it, is you can check out all of that results basically based on the IPEDS data on their dashboard on their site. So with that, let's hop over to that blog and dig into some of these takeaways. What was the one that surprised you the most, J-Bo?
Yeah, well, first of all, about this post that John Fink made. Is it John Fink? F. Yeah, it is.
It is John Fink.
Yeah, so first of all, this post that John Fink made is a really good blend of text and analysis, straight up visuals, but then the interactive Tableau visuals that you can see here where you can select states and sectors and specific colleges to look at. And You can compare by state, gender, race, and ethnicity. There's so much you can do to dig into this data.
Hey, it's Jamie Boggs here. Element 451 is hosting the AI Engage Summit on October 29th and 30th. This free virtual event features many of your favorite Enrollify creators and will explore AI's impact on student engagement, enrollment marketing, and institutional success. Learn how to tap into the power of AI to turn data into actionable insights, utilize predictive analytics, and monitor and support students' performance. Plus, hear directly from students on how AI is influencing their engagement and campus life. Timothy and I are hosting a session on October 29th at 2 p.m. called Predictive Analytics in Action: How Element 451 Drives Student Success with AI-Powered Insights. You don't want to miss that one. The AI Engage Summit is your guide to understanding and applying AI at your school. Registration is free. Visit element451.com to save your spot. Now, back to the show.
Yeah, to me, I think the sheer number, it looks like there was a previous analysis done where they predicted 1.5 million students in dual enrollment, and we're at 2.5. And I know I'm supposed to pick out some nuanced statistic in here that's like, oh, well, this is surprising because that's a 66% over predictive increase. So if we're looking at forecasting to the future, I think that, I don't know, it creates a lot more questions of, are we equipped for the growth of dual enrollment moving forward? And maybe we are due to online classes and tech enrollment, but the sheer numbers based on previous predictions is what really grabs me of, oh, things are different now.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it's nice that we have this visibility here, right? That's one of John's kind of takeaways at the end of the blog, right? Is that de-aggregating this data is going to help significantly for policymakers and practitioners to rethink policy, right? Rethink the way that that we build dual enrollment pathways and other important things like that.
And we covered in a previous episode the discussion going on in legislation right now just about online classes, and there's a lot of dual enrollment classes that are online. So I think some of that could impact this as well.
Absolutely. The one that stuck out to me was that dual enrollment was not evenly distributed across all institutions, that there are some that are significantly leading the way and others that are not doing dual enrollment hardly at all. So that I think will be an area that a lot of institutions begin to look to in the same way that, they've kind of pivoted toward graduate programs, graduate degrees, continuing ed, certificates. I think looking towards dual enrollment and sort of blending into the high school model and getting students their degrees quicker for lower cost, especially since most of those dual enrollment programs are probably at least subsidized, if not fully covered by the high school.
Right.
Those are just more markets effectively for the industry to expand into.
And I wonder how much of that plays into the fact that it's only a handful of schools that are really excelling of this. Is the subsidy somehow go against your institutional take of that financially? And if not, then maybe if I'm an enrollment person, I'm going to look at this and say, whoa, we need to do more of this. It's a huge market. But if you're actually taking a financial hit, maybe that's why we're not seeing people do it as much.
Yeah.
Schools do it as much.
For sure. I mean, and again, in my neck of the woods, there's just I'm in the panhandle of Texas. So there's more space regionally for,
Right.
For each school. Schools can, kind of own a radius of that's just larger than you can over on the East Coast, is what I was kind of setting up for there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so for some situations over there, if a previous dual enrollment agreement exists between one of the high schools that you target and a competitor institution, getting into dual enrollment and actually kind of crafting those programs and writing those sort of deals with the school district might be very difficult.
Absolutely. And you can see that basically if you look at you mentioned Idaho, you look at all of the, I don't know, a better word, the flat states. The higher percentage is concentrated there, where people live a little bit more spread out for the most part. Now, Indiana is kind of an anomaly there, but The others that you see that have that high percentage of community college students that are in high school, there are some in the Northeast, but for the most part, it's concentrated there in the west of Midwest, Midwest. Is that a direction?
Yeah, I mean, I think we could detour here and talk about how meaningless the like directional assignments,
Yeah.
geography assignments are in the United States now. They're definitely still based on the 13 colonies, but now like post Louisiana Purchase.
That's not a phrase I expected to hear today.
In the
That's
post Louisiana
fantastic.
Purchase world, it's not meaningful to talk about everything west of Chicago as the West.
Out west. Yeah. The Mississippi divides us all, I think. That's what we're looking at here. And there is something to be said for that in this chart. But again, that's community college students that are also high school students. So that's not saying high school students that are dual enrolled.
Yeah. But from this, I mean, I think the CCRC's message here is that this is positive. This is really good. They seem to be advocating for dual enrollment. And at the bottom of the main blog post that we're discussing today, there's a link to some other research by the CCRC about the benefits of dual enrollment. The main kind of takeaway from that being that dual enrollment definitely helps with like the high school to college transition. It's more effective and equitable, right? You can prevent a lot of stop outs and increase persistence when students are used to the college environment, used to the college academic environment, have seen some college courses before, maybe even been on campus to take these dual enrollment courses. They're a lot more prepared when it comes to actually making the jump and leaving high school.
Also, we talk about engaging students and in recruitment in a variety of ways. I mean, how much more engaged can you get with a high school student than them actually taking a class at your institution? So as far as recruitment goes, you're building a relationship with a student who is still in the application process, still in the admissions process. So I think this could be an even bigger recruitment tool. Now, given the community college population, maybe that's not what they're looking for, because I think that's an interesting overlap of a lot of students that do dual credit tend to be more high achieving, and maybe that's just a wrong assessment on my part. They're more ambitious, if at the very least. So I wonder what percentage of those go on to community college. Mm-hmm. But for the public 4 years, I think this could be a great recruitment tool.
Yeah. I mean, to tack on.
I made a lot of assumptions. I know.
No, absolutely. I mean, to kind of build on that idea, I think too, like if you're a marketer, admissions or enrollment professional on campus right now, like if you're not paying attention to your dual enrollment class, or you're not paying attention to maybe folks, your community college feeder schools, if you got partnerships there, making incentives for them, keeping them engaged with, personalized communication related to what they've already accomplished at the university, those could be really meaningful drivers to continue students on at your university and get them enrolled maybe full-time as a sophomore or junior.
Absolutely. And again, this is a great study that tells us a lot more than we knew before about dual enrollment, and the fact that it breaks down in so many different demographic areas, I think makes this super useful. And this post that John Fink made just makes it so easy to access the data that you're looking for. So I encourage everybody to go check that out. Let us know what surprised you. Let us know what's interesting to you, and follow up with us over on LinkedIn is where most of our conversation happens around our posts. You can also leave some feedback or a topic request in a review.
Absolutely. 3 cheers for more data.
3 cheers. Hey, I don't know. What am I supposed to say?
I actually don't know.
I don't know.
Let's wrap.
Data. Okay.
Thanks for joining us. Have a great rest of your day. See you in the next one.
The EduData podcast is part of the Enrollify podcast network. If you like this podcast, chances are you'll like the other Enrollify shows too. Our podcast network is growing by the month. We've got a plethora of marketing, enrollment, and higher ed technology shows that are jam-packed with stories, ideas, and frameworks, all designed to empower you to be a better higher ed professional.
Our shows help higher ed marketers and admissions professionals find their next big idea and feature a selection of the industry's best as your hosts. Learn from Jamie Hunt, Artis Cadu, Dustin Ramsdale, Jeremy Tiers, and so many of your other favorite leaders in higher ed. Enrollify is made possible by Element 451. the leading AI-powered all-in-one student engagement platform helping institutions create meaningful, personalized, and engaging interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com.